Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a 20th Century Geek video. And this time we're going to be reviewing a special edition. That's right, I'm going to be starting to review special editions. There could be some old ones, there could be some new ones, it could be new releases. I don't know yet, but I'm going to try and do something different. So, what am I going to review this week? Well, this week, or this video, I'm going to be reviewing Arrow Video's edition of Robocop. This came out in November 2019. It came out with several editions. There was the special edition, which I have here, which is what I have. It was also released as a steelbook, which I haven't got. And then more recently, they've released it as a single Blu-ray edition with just the film on. So what I want to talk about is the usual thing. I'm going to talk about not just the film. We all know the film is fantastic. This is Robocop, the 1987 classic. Paul Verhoeven, wonderful film. I really enjoy this film. Ultra violent, fantastic satire of corporate America. Well worth your time. That's why I bought the Blu-ray. The question is it a good special edition? So what I want to look at is the quality of the presentation, the special edition content, both on the disc and additional, if there is anything, and then basically an overall view. Is this worth your time as a special edition? So let's have a quick look at the content of this thing. So you do get the box. And also, you get the new artwork on the front, which I really enjoy. It's a fantastic piece of art. So this slide cases, the cases that Arrow do, I really do like these, because I think one of the things I like about these, some of the other companies that do these, not to really degrade them, but they're a bit flimsy. They're like the folded cardboardy ones, a bit sort of folded. I will be talking about at some point with the Howard the Duck version, special edition from, I think it's 101, was a bit flimsy. This is a really good, solid. This, I mean, it doesn't look good on your shelf, but you know it's protected. It's sort of like, it's nice and solid. So I really like that. As always, there is the Blu-ray itself. The Arrow edition, I like the fact they've maintained this clear view, and you get the alternative slipcover. Just to highlight that, yes. You do get the original case, or the original cover, and then you get the alternative as well. Now, one of the things that's always a problem for me with these, well, at least for some of them, for a couple of them, is I love that original cover. I think it's great, but I have been keeping with the alternative slipcover for now. So what do you get inside? Well, this is a 2-disc edition. You get the director's cut on a single disc, and then you get the theatrical version. That also includes a television cut or a TV cut of the movie. So with this you are getting 3 cuts of the film. In addition to that, you get a sticker, which I haven't used yet, which is warning: this property is protected by Robocop. It's not. It's barely protected by me, to be perfectly honest. You get a number of movie still cards, really well produced. I mean, these things they feel. They're laminate for a start, so you don't get the high gloss reflection, which I actually prefer. I prefer that these are laminate. Good high quality images, all maintaining a similar backing, so they've all got the same back. All right, so I do like those. They are nice. They're a bit of a nice little extra, I will say. But there's not much you can do with them. So they are nice, but they just sit in the box. 6 of them, all in all. But they just sort of sit in the case. Okay, so that's the case. So from a physical point of view, so far I'm actually quite pleased. If I was to just get the Blu-ray, I think I would actually be quite pleased with that. I mean, it's a good addition. But obviously with the Blu-ray, just the single Blu-ray, you don't get all the bells and whistles. You do just get the films. I'm not even sure if you get the theatrical version, you might just get the director's cut. In addition to that, so you've got the sticker, you get a rather wonderful poster, a rather snazzy. It's good size. I mean, it's not massive, so it's one of those. Again, you get the new slipcase art and the original badass film movie poster. Part man, part machine, all cop. It's a good size. I mean, to be honest, it's a good size. It could be framed. If you were to smooth. The one issue is it's been folded, which is always a slight problem with posters. It has been folded. You probably could smooth it out. I don't know. I'm sure there are poster aficionados out there that would tell you how to do that. But again, it's got that really nice. As far as I'm concerned, it's got a really nice matte finish. So I find the plasticky sort of gloss finish on posters can be a little distracting. Obviously, it distracts from the art when you get a reflection on it, that sort of thing. So I do like that. Again, it just sits in the box. And finally, you get a booklet. Now, this is quite a good one. It's about 60 odd pages. In fact, it's more than that. I'll tell you exactly. It's 79 pages. It's got the original art on there, and that same backing you saw on the cards. Now, this contains a number of essays, which we'll get to in a moment. But I mean, if you look at that, that's a nice thick booklet. I'm going to turn that way. Here you go. Nice thick booklet, so you can sort of see down the side. It says Robocop, it's got the arrow, MGM sign. A really nice quality as well. Again, it's well put together. It's well made. That's the one thing I've had with this again is some of the others that again we'll probably get to them at some other point. Is that they are stapled, or even when they are sort of glue bound like this, they feel flimsy. You know, that sort of more like a pamphlet than a book, and likely to fall apart. But this feels good. I mean, I've actually read this. I've had it out. I've read it. It feels like a book. It's a good quality thing. So I will get into the content of that in a moment, but that's the physical elements of this, as in the presentation. So what do we get? Let me put it this way. I chose this to be the first video to do these special edition reviews for a reason. I love the presentation of this. This was clearly a flagship one for Arrow for last year. It's a big get for them. They released this alongside a couple of other films at that time, late in 2019. They released this alongside American Werewolf in London and Nightbreed, Clive Barker's Nightbreed. All three of those got wonderful editions, and there's another edition I've also got, the Candyman. We've got a similar treatment. So they are really putting some effort into the big ones. When they get some, I mean, they put effort into all of them. Don't get me wrong, but for these bigger ones, they've got some fantastic quality build going into this. So to score this out of 10, as I think I'm going to, I would give this an 8 out of 10. This is a solid build, a solid quality presentation, 8 out of 10. You know, that really impresses me. So it looks good on your shelf, okay? It will look good against all those other collections you've got. Any of the special editions you've got, it will look good against those. It will stand out, and when you pull it out, you know, you show you've got your OCP, your Omni Consumer Products, and your sort of wonderful new art. You could be able to show that off. People will be impressed by that on your shelf, and I enjoy having that on my shelf. It's a nice collector's. But that, if it was just a vanilla disc, you know, it looks nice, but we don't. Arrow never just do that. This has got additional things on it as well. So what do we get with it? So on the Blu-ray itself, you get, as I say, you've got 2 discs, the director's cut. I'm going to read them off here. You get some good stuff. You've got a number of commentaries. You get 3 additional commentaries. You get the Verhoeven commentary, which is actually from a 2014 edition. I've also got that. That came with, that was done as a single edition. It was when it first upgraded to high def. It was also released as a trilogy box set when you got Robocop 2 and 3 as well. That's the Verhoeven one. There's a film historian, Paul Salmon. I'm just reading off it. Paul Salmon, that's a new commentary. There's also a fan commentary, which I haven't listened to yet. Not sure about that. It's a lovely idea. I like the idea of this. This is the good thing about Arrow, because these are loved films. These are beloved films, and so to have fans come in and contribute, I think, is a fantastic idea. So, you know, bob on for that. The number of interviews on this are also incredible. What they cover, you get cast, you got crew, you got production, you got music, special effects, new stuff. Really going back and doing some retrospective view. So, you know, as a bit of a, I love that retrospective view. It's something that I quite enjoy delving into, and I've checked out a couple of those. They're very, very good, very, very interesting. You also get a lot of archive material, stuff that appeared on the 2014 release. There's a QA session with Peter Weller, and some of the featurettes that have appeared and stuff like that. So, but to be fair, it's hours and hours of footage. With those 3 commentaries and everything else, you've got an absolute dearth of information on that disc. Wonderful. I mean, it's just such a lot of information. I mean, you know, you could take that information and then, you know, I'm supposed they've done it. There could be a commentary or a documentary specifically about the making of this film. This would be the place to start. Like, you get a whole bunch of stuff. So the one thing I think that's missing that would be really good, you've got the modern Verhoeven commentary. it would be really, really nice to see sort of Peter Weller come back and do some commentary on that as well. Obviously, how he played Robocop. You've got all the featurette stuff and people talking about it, but to hear his experiences, that would be like a notch up, and that would have been fantastic. Not on there, unfortunately. You also get the usual stuff, deleted scenes, some raw dailies. Now, raw dailies is interesting. I haven't looked at this yet, but that's sort of obviously, so if you don't know what those are, it's the footage as it was taken there and then, before it goes through editing, before it goes to special effects, before it goes to so that's sort of, you will get to see it in its rawest form, and if it's scenes that you recognise, you can do that comparison between what you get to see in the dailies and what you're going to get to see in the finished product, especially now it's been high def. So that's fascinating stuff. And then the usual odds and sods, TV spots, trailers, that's usual standard fare. That I think is a pretty good collection. I think, having the 3 commentaries is something I'm really impressed with. The Verhoeven one, that's fantastic. I have listened to that before. It's really interesting. The film historian one, it gives you that angle of someone as a viewer and everything else that I think puts it in the context of not just its time but its place in history. And to have that information and that sort of opinion, it allows me at least to see the film in a different way, in a different light. So I enjoyed that. That's a good addition, which I think they do quite a bit in Arrow, but I wish there were certain films that I wish had that more. It's just something more interesting. The TV cut is also on the other discs, along with the theatrical cut. So if you move on to the second disc, theatrical cut, just slightly shorter, some slightly different edits, some different angles. It's varies from the director, or the director's cut. It's not hugely different. Still, it's a high def edition if you want to watch it. It's a version of the film. The difference between the theatrical cut and the director's cut is literally, I think, a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes. It's not masses of footage. I mean, this isn't sort of Blade Runner variances throughout, but it's still worth seeing if you like the film. But believe me, you will have pretty much stuck with the director's cut. The last 20 years probably. The commentary that you get additional sort of archive commentary from Verhoeven. The more interesting stuff that comes with the TV cut. So you get a TV edit of this. Now, this links into something that's in the book, which I'll mention in a minute. But you get a TV edit of the film. Now, this is where they say things like, blow you, mother funner, that sort of thing. I'm going to fudge you up, that sort of thing. So it's where they sort of made it, American TV made it appropriate for Saturday afternoon, despite all the gore and everything else. It's a fun one. It's got some interesting edits and some interesting choices. It's in standard def. It's got some real scrappy bits. It's worth it as a watch. As a piece of footage, as a watch. The other thing I would say is the special features on this is where it gets really interesting, because what they're doing is some comparison pieces side by side, theatrical cut, TV edit. This is what they look different. So here's the different angle or the different cut, or some of them. I learned this from the book. Isn't just a different cut or a different angle. It's literally a different take, where they've said, so can you say this or do that, and so they get a different take on it. Really interesting stuff. So from it on the disc, you do get some really, really good stuff. It's a pretty comprehensive edition from a special features point of view. So the discs are good. I'm really impressed with what's on the discs. It's expansive. It's informative. It's both archival and new. So you are covering all your bases there. So and again, you get fan, historian, and production commentary and this sort of thing. So all in all, it's a really comprehensive view. This is probably if you love this film, this will give you a dearth of information. And to cover the book as well, then, so that's the discs, and I'll cover all the bonus features in a minute. But for the book, 70 odd pages of material, some really good photos. I mean, just sort of you get not just material, you get the photos throughout, which, let's be fair, pads it out, but they're nice. They're nice to have. There's some really good stuff of the special features. So you get images of Robocop, when they were doing the maquettes for the costume, designs for Ed 209. They're not just standard photos. I mean, if they're all just publicity shots, then I think you would be right to say, yeah, it's a bit naff. It's not, it's just stills from the film. That's in there, don't get me wrong. But they've got other additional stuff as well that sort of slipped into it. But the key thing to this is you get a number of essays. Or 3 essays at least, which I think are really important. You do get original production notes about the cast, about the filmmakers. Those are very much of their time. You know, it's sort of like, we are selling this film, here's why you should go see it, and who's doing it and why. Like, there's little bits of, there's nuggets of information in there, things you can pluck out, but it's not, in all honesty, it's not designed for that. It's designed to sell the film, you know, and if you've already bought this, you've already bought it, but it's worth seeing just to see what was produced and sort of sent out to the media and onto the trades at the time, which is interesting. But the essays themselves are quite good. There's one called, at the beginning, called Tales of Blood and Steel. Now, this one is an essay on the idea of trauma and memory and how it's presented in Robocop. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about it, but it's a good, solid essay. It's really interesting, especially sort of goes into, it sort of pivots around the scene in which he returns home. You know, he sort of goes around, you've got the robotic estate agent, that sort of thing, and how that relates to sort of memory and trauma. It's a really interesting take, and more about how sort of that notion of Robocop gets sort of overshadowed with the sort of satirical elements that are in the film. The second one is not an essay so much, but there's an interview in here with Rob Bottin from 1987, appeared in Fangoria. It's a reprint of that, but it's a really, really good interview, and you know, it focuses in on Robocop, but you know, as this is sort of was for Fangoria at the time, expands into all kinds of things. It has actually a bunch of information on other things he was doing, how he got into the business, some other stuff from Rob Bottin. So, and don't forget, Rob Bottin is a huge name in special effects of the 80s and 90s. So, it's a fascinating interview, really worth sort of checking out. I was really interested. I really wish I had enough to, you know, go out and I wish I'd read Fangoria back in the day. Basically, I never got the opportunity to. The two other ones that are interesting is Robocop and the generation that grew up with it, and this is for me was great because it actually is a notion of, well, there were people that saw this a little too young. You know, hands up if you did. But it stuck with us, and not in a bad way. You know, the fact that Robocop actually speaks to this thing of morality. And even in the face of huge adversity, of basically being stripped of his humanity, gets it all back, you know, blah blah blah, and actually how, despite all the gore and the violence and the sort of, you know, the swearing and the satire, it stands up actually as a morality tale, and how that sort of, you know, worked with the generation that watched it. It's a fascinating essay. And then the final one is a history of the TV edits. So it's more about the different takes that were made of the film. The fact that the original cut was slightly longer than the director's cut even, so there is obviously more material, different angles, that sort of thing, and was given an X rating by the American board, classification board, and they were fighting for that R rating, so they had to keep cutting it back. And then when they got that, it then went to video, and there were some tweaks there, and then it went to TV, and that's obviously where the big edits were. And this hits in on the fact that there wasn't just one. You get one on the disc, but there wasn't just one, there were several TV edits. And so you get in this a list of the different edits and changes that were made, not just the scenes, but fantastic, some of the dialogue. As I said before, sort of like, you know, there's some weird ones, a bit, you know, we'll find them. Here we go. So, you know, the theatrical is, your client's a scumbag, you're a scumbag, and scumbags see the judge on Monday. I mean, this is the 80s, it's TV. I don't think scumbag, I'm pretty sure YouTube will let scumbag go, but they change it to your client's a sleazebag, you're a sleazebag, and sleazebags see the judge on Monday. You know, and this thing gets changed further to your client's a crumbag. This is the edition I remember. You're a crumbag, and crumbags see the judge on Monday. The fact it gives you that information, it goes into a lot of detail about why they did it, who did it, what the options were. It's really interesting. So to go through that as a booklet again, I think some of the information in this is good. There's a book, I think there's like a visual history of Robocop, which really goes into the whole depth. I haven't got it, and I haven't seen it, but you know, I can imagine that goes into all kinds of things around the special effects, the building of the suit, and that sort of thing. This has some of that, but as a sort of a 70-page booklet that you get with a Blu-ray, it's fantastic. I really think that Arrow have excelled themselves in this one, which is why I started with this. I want to start on a positive, something I really enjoy. So this is a good one for me. I think, as I said, I'll give the quality an 8, presentation an 8. Bonus features on the disc, I would probably give a 7.5. There's again some things I'm missing, and I think as well the additional content material is in the booklet the poster, the stickers, the cards. I mean, you get a wealth of things. Of those, I think the poster's great. You know, it could be framed, it could be put up, do what you want with it. I'm keeping it in the box, a bit of a completist in that way. But the book itself, I find the booklet is the best piece of this, and for that I'm going to give that an 8.5. I think they go above and beyond, and I think for what I paid for it, I think I paid like 25 quid for this when it first came out. It's well worth the money. I think you get a lot for it. So well done, Arrow. You know, well done. The Arrow Video Robocop edition, special edition. I highly recommend it. So if you're a fan of this film, this is, I would probably say, one of the definitive versions that is out now. You get multiple versions of the film, a wealth of information, and special features galore. This is a fantastic edition, and I would say at the moment, at least, this for me is the definitive collection for this film. Next, I will probably be looking at another Arrow edition, and we'll get through a few others. So thank you for your time. If you like what we're doing and you like this, leave a comment below, press the subscribe button, do all the usual things, and yeah, check out the podcast. Of course, I do a podcast called 20th Century Geek. I'm on YouTube, I'm on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, all the usual things. 20th Century Geek, and find me on Twitter at 20th Century Geek and come have a chat. Okay guys, thank you very much, and we'll talk again soon.